Hello, and welcome to Easy Peasy Photoshop Tutorials. On this screencast, what we want to look at is Photoshop masking, the basics of Photoshop masking. And what's the difference between selections? Well, generally masking is something that you save. You save a mask. So let's get right to it. I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can save a mask in Photoshop. And the first way, if we look over here on the left, we just hit the P key. That brings us to the pin tool, and what we're going to do is quickly make a pin path around this potato. What I'm doing is, one of the advantages of using the pin path here is that it takes up very little memory. When you save a channel, you say it takes more to save a channel. Or if you save a layer with a layer mask, again, it takes more to save that. Whereas a pin path adds very little to an image file. So here we are, and that little 0 closes it off. And we double click that and we call it potato. And if we look down here, what can we do with that path? Well, we can fill the path with a foreground color, stroke it with a brush, load path as a selection. Hey, that sounds like something good. If we do that, boom, here we have a selection that we can use. Well, let's go to the next one. And we're going to save a channel. Let's say that we were going to use a lasso tool. And we'll just hold down the option key and we're going to go down, and this is actually very similar to saving a pin path. And we're just going to click. Now we could click, hold and drag and just go along the edge. It's a little wavy. Sometimes the hand is not quite as steady as it used to be, but no big deal. Because once you get it to that point, and again we go down in the channel palette, we can load channel as selection, or we can save selection as a channel, and we can hit that and we can turn it on, and we'll just delete that channel. Now if we just look at it by itself, you can see that the channel is very rugged. It's not very smooth, and there's a lot of jagged bumps to it. So from here, what this does, if we look at the channel palette, this says when it's highlighted like this, we have an alpha channel, and we'll go ahead and double click that and we'll call it potato. And since this is selected, that means that whenever I edit over on the screen, I'm just going to edit on that channel. All the other channels will be forgotten in terms of editing, so I can have the eyeballs on the other channel so I can see what's going on. And so what I'm doing here is just adding a little bit. Now I'm actually working in black and white and grays. I click on this and just click him off, as you can see here. And what I'm doing is just adding a little smoothness to the edge, right? So that's what we have there on channels. And once it's on there like that, we can turn it off and on to look at it, but we can just click the button right here and, oops, look at that. Let's go here. Let's turn that on, and just turn it off like that. Now we can click here and we can get a selection for that potato. Okay, now the final one that I want to show you today is that we can actually just take a very loose selection here, and we're going to create a layer mask off of this selection, and we're going to make sure that we're on RGB, click on here, paste it. We call this potato. And what we're going to do is create that selection here, and we're going to click this little icon down here, and this will add a layer mask. And if we click the option key, you can see what the layer mask looks like. The white is showing through, the black is everything it's covering up. That's the mask. Whatever is black is masking out everything underneath it. So we can move that potato over here. We can take a brush and we can make sure, if we look at the layer, you can either select working on the layer itself on the pixels or on the layer mask. We want it on the layer mask. We'll pick a brush and we'll just begin to smooth this out. So as you can see, we can go back and forth, and we'll look at here really quick to show what's happening on that. We'll click back out of it. And so you can quickly get something in here. Now a lot of people like this because it gives you full control over the mask. So if your mask is a little off in terms of a selection or a pin path, sometimes it's hard to go back. Let's say that you mess it up a little bit, you can just go back, and if we look at that mess up, see over here where it messed up, we can just go back and have the white, and then whatever is in white and gray kind of shows through, and we'll hit the black again, and we'll hit that edge, we'll get rid of that edge. So those are 3 ways that you can create and save masks. One is called a layer mask. One is called a channel or a potato. And one is called a pin path. Go back to the channels here, turn that back on. And we can have a pin path, and that allows us to save it with very little memory usage. So that's 3 ways you can create a mask in Photoshop and save it. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time, and take it easy.